Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my final review of Marvel's Jessica Jones on Netflix. And you guys know I did a review about my review sort of like general impressions of the first episode. And I also came back and, sort of gave my updated thoughts sort of midway through around episode 7. And just probably 20 minutes ago or something, probably less than that, I just finished the whole first season. Of course, with the final episode being AKA Smile. And, so I just thought I'd give you guys my final thoughts on the series, or at least the first season. Overall, I thought it was a very, very good series. I really enjoyed it. Of course, people are going to endlessly compare this to Daredevil, of course, with it being in the same world, and, with them, crossing over eventually with the Defenders and stuff like that. And, I'll just get that part out of the way real quick. I still prefer Daredevil. That could be because I'm just more interested in the character of Murdoch right off the bat. Or it could just be because I was more interested in that particular story, I don't know. But I'm not putting down Jessica Jones, don't get me wrong. I thought Jessica Jones is also pretty much amazing in its own right. And it's not far below Daredevil either. I'd say it's definitely at least in the same ballpark, even if I don't prefer it. I just thought it was a stellar series that they created here. Krysten Ritter is absolutely fantastic in the role of Jessica Jones. I really do hope they give this one a season 2 as well. It seems like it's a possibility, but it sounds like they're probably not going to do it until, pretty close to the Defenders maybe, or something like that. I don't know. She just really embodied herself in the character. She was able to show every side just very, very well. From her PTSD, and all her vulnerability and torment because of what Kilgrave had made her do. Also to her sarcasm and just sort of like a rough exterior and her attitude and stuff like that. Just really, really fun. A really fun, interesting, and compelling character. One of my favorite female leads I've seen in quite a long time. My favorite female lead ever, probably has to be, Vanessa Ives from Penny Dreadful. And while Jessica Jones isn't quite on the same level as her, to me, I will say she's one of the most unique leads I've seen since then. Since first seeing Penny Dreadful and stuff. So Krysten Ritter did an excellent job. David Tennant, who played Kilgrave, he did a very good job too. A lot of people are saying he's the best villain in the MCU at this point. I don't know about that. He's certainly more interesting and, harder to predict than, of course, the characters in the movies and stuff like that. But as far as him or Kingpin from Daredevil goes, I still have to side with, Kingpin. Just because I found him to be more personally interesting, more... Not just because he is more of a sympathetic character, but also just because I found there to be more layers to him than to Kilgrave. I'm good sure Kilgrave had all that stuff with his parents and stuff like that, which was good on its own. But the big thing about Kilgrave was really the effect he had on others and, the torment he caused others. So really, they're two different types of villains when you think about it. And okay, I'm going to stop the Daredevil comparisons right now, or at least I'll try to. My favorite episode of Jessica Jones Season 1, that's kind of hard to say. I thought they were all really consistent, really solid all the way through. I don't think it really had one bad episode by any means. Some people were complaining that it was a little slower paced after episode 8 and 9 and stuff like that. And, I thought it was fine. It didn't drag as much as some people were saying. But probably my favorite episode might be episode 6, aka You're a Winner. I just really loved the scenes between Jessica and Luke, and that episode particularly involved Luke finding out that Jessica had killed his wife, while she was under Kilgrave's control, of course. And I saw the scene of them at the end when Luke really struggled with wanting to kill her or not. I saw it was really well handled, well acted by both Krysten Ritter and Mike Colter, who always, played Luke Cage very well as well. I'm really looking forward to the Luke Cage series now. I'm already kind of invested in the character after seeing him in Jessica Jones, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with his own individual story going forward. I also really liked Rachael Taylor. I think that was her name, right? Rachael Taylor. Let me see. Yes, Rachael Taylor as Trish, Jessica's best friend. I liked her quite a bit too. Certainly, I did like her. I found her to be a bit more interesting than like Karen Page on Daredevil, I will say. Some say she might be a character in the comics called Hellcat. I'm not sure about that. I read far too little comics than I should, but I did find her character to be pretty good, and I really liked how they showed her and Jessica's bond throughout the season. The flashbacks to them as children, and how Jessica defended her from her mother and stuff like that. Also, they picked good actresses, good younger actresses for both of them when they were teenagers and stuff. They both look quite a bit like Krysten Ritter and Rachael Taylor, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I liked all their flashbacks together and how their bond sort of was a big factor, and how they were finally able to take down Kilgrave at the end. So that was all really good too. I did like I'm starting to forget his name now. Malcolm. Who is also in the originals, which is cool to see him in this. I liked how his character developed, how he sort of like rose above being that junkie once the control is less of a factor and stuff like that. As far as her neighbors, her other neighbors, I should say, like, Ruben and his sister, I thought they were okay. The girl who played the sister, I thought, she was a pretty good actress and stuff, but really she was more of a comic relief than anything, but they did a good job at the end with Malcolm helping her deal with Ruben being killed and stuff like that. And then there was, of course, Carrie Ann Moss, who a lot of us know as Trinity from the Matrix movies. Her whole affair storyline, with Pam, and then the whole divorce thing with her separated wife and stuff like that. I thought that stuff was okay, It was definitely the least interesting part of the series, but it wasn't poorly done by any means, really. And it did lead to a pretty brutal finish with Pam, killing her separated wife at the end. So I'm sure we'll probably see more with Hogarth's character in season 2, maybe. I did like how they brought Kilgrave's parents in towards the later part of the season. I thought they handled that pretty well, even if I didn't fully feel for Kilgrave or personally invest in his story or background or anything. I did think they did it pretty well. As far as the action goes, there wasn't as many fight scenes as on Daredevil or something like that, but that makes sense because she's not just someone prowling the streets and brawling with people left and right, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be. The fight scenes I thought they were pretty decent. Not quite as well choreographed as Daredevil, but the fights with Simpson's another character I should talk about. I did find him to be pretty likable, and of course with him taking those pills from Kozlov and stuff, it sort of amplified his emotions and his aggression and strength and stuff like that, like combat enhancers. And it looks like we're going to be finding out more about that whole organization in season 2, possibly. I don't know, with IGH, we'll see. Really do hope this gets a second season. I thought the fight scenes with Simpson, when he was under all that influence and stuff with Trish and Jessica, were pretty good, and of course I like the fight scene between Jessica and Luke when Luke was under control too. So I thought the big fight scenes were pretty good though, but not on the same level as Daredevil's, of course. As far as how the whole Kilgrave thing wrapped up at the end, with the scene with him controlling everyone on the docks and stuff like that, and him sort of almost becoming Purple Man when you think about it, because when he was finally using all that power, he seemed like these purple veins come up. So in a way they did it. When I first seen him inject that final dose of it into himself, I thought he was actually had the purple skin, but I get why they wouldn't do that. They want to maintain some level of realism with these shows, and I approve of that. I approve of that. And also, before I forget, I should talk about the cameo. Oh wait, I didn't even finish my point about how the Kilgrave thing wrapped up. I thought that was, it was okay. In a way, it felt like an anticlimax with her just, snapping his neck at the end and stuff. In a way, you kind of want to see him go down in more grand fashion, I guess. But at the same time, that whole scene with Jessica and Trish making him think that he finally was able to control Jessica again after she had broken it. I thought all the dialogue between them was really good, especially Kilgrave's. So I did think it was well handled. But I kind of wish for more of a bigger thing instead of him just getting his neck snapped, I guess. But it was still good for the most part. And of course, we didn't actually see Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock, Daredevil in the show, but we did finally get some references to him with Claire, the night nurse, making a cameo in the final episode of this season. So I thought that was really cool with her helping out Jessica and Luke in particular. And of course, she did, sort of mention Matt, not by name, and really, but she did say, he questions himself like every movie he makes, and, if Jessica needed it, she could have contacted him, he probably would help. But of course, Jessica couldn't risk getting someone else involved and getting controlled and stuff like that. But in a way, I think they could have worked a scene with Matt Murdock into the season somehow, with Jessica being involved with PI and lawyers and stuff like that. I thought they could have at least had Matt Murdock appear in his lawyer mode with Foggy or something. I thought that would have been cool. But it was good to at least get reference to him at the end, and also it was cool seeing Claire, and it as sort of a tie between them and stuff like that. So it really makes me look forward to the Defenders series when it does happen in a couple of years. I think that's just going to be amazing, seeing these characters come together. It's just going to be incredible. I can't wait for it. And it also left off at an interesting place. They could easily expand on the IGH stuff and probably bring in other things from the comics and stuff. So I would really love this to get a second season. But either way, I can't wait to see more of Jessica Jones and see her tied into Daredevil and Luke Cage, maybe still Iron Fist. I'm not sure how that series is going though. With the Defenders, can't wait for that. As I said, also looking forward to the Luke Cage series soon enough. Also Daredevil season 2, I cannot wait for, especially with John Bernthal as the Punisher, who I also hope gets his own series. But yeah, so those are my overall thoughts on it. If there's any more specific questions or something else you want to talk about that I didn't really mention, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to discuss more of this with you guys in detail. But overall, I really loved and enjoyed the Jessica Jones season 1 on Netflix. And definitely hope it gets a second season. Can't wait for the Defenders and Luke Cage. So yeah, I can't believe I'm finally finished with it. I didn't binge. I really like to watch it little by little and let things settle in my mind, and I really enjoyed my experience with it. So yeah, catch you guys next time. Most likely, I'll be releasing a Dexter tribute within the next few days, but also I plan on doing a Z Nation review for the episode on Friday. I'll probably be watching that tomorrow at some point, and we'll see whatever else I do. Alright, so add me on Facebook, follow me on MoviePilot, look for rantswelldead.com. And yeah, catch you guys next time, and peace.